Despite having access to Sonic 3D Blast for the Genesis for maybe like 6 or 7 years at this point, I actually beat it for the first time pretty recently. I mean, I probably could have beaten it sooner, just, you know, no real motivation, but hey, here it is, you know, complete in box, not blocks. And you know, here's the cartridge. Unfortunately, because this is a you know, late Genesis release, in other words, basically after 1994, Sega, being dipshits, they put, you know, Genesis games in cardboard boxes, the same boxes they would use for like 32X games, which is so stupid. I fucking hate that. I really don't get why they just did not keep the, you know, standard frickin' what is it, you know, the cases, you know, the plastic cases that they used. And you know, the more that you think of it, like as we know, for the first couple of years of the Genesis lifespan, you know, the games were not like displayed in these red borders. They were displayed like this, at least the cartridges were, where it said Sega Genesis in this grid background. It had a picture, but it only had the title of the game, you know, on the end label, like this. But then around, I want to say like 92 or 93, you know, they did this like red labeled thing where it says Genesis, then has a picture, then, you know, has like this little thing. It's basically like this uniform red sort of style. And the thing is, oh, I think it was either 93 or 94. I'm pretty sure it was 93 because Sonic Spinball came in this. So it's like, I think for those 2 years were the only 2 years we ever saw Genesis games in the red style, in the red, you know, uniform style, in plastic cases. Because, you know, in 95 and 96, and I guess maybe to an extent 97, if Sega at least was still putting out games for the Genesis in 97, you know, they'd come in these stupid fucking boxes. And it's like, what the hell? They're just, you know, trying to save costs. And I know the Saturn was out, but like with the Master System, you kept boxes throughout you kept the same clamshell, like plastic design throughout the whole Master System lifespan. Okay, that rant out of the way. Sonic 3D Blast. You know, it's a game that like gets some hate, gets some love. I like it. You know, I don't really understand the hate entirely, because I feel that this is one of the few games where I can say that if it wasn't a Sonic game, it probably wouldn't get, you know, a lot of hate. I mean, it's not perfect, okay? Like, it really is not perfect. But, you know, it was enjoyable enough where I didn't rage quit necessarily, and, you know, I guess it helps that the special stages are, like, piss easy. And that's good, too, because I can't get all the Chaos Emeralds in Sonic 2. I just can't. I can't for the life of me. And it's also kind of one of the reasons why I never really attempted to beat the Saturn version of Sonic 3D Blast, because, you know, I can't get the Chaos Emeralds there. Though I will try, probably. But, you know, here, I just sat down one afternoon, played it all the way through, and I'm like, you know, it's good stuff. You know, and I will mention this right now, like, even though this isn't polygons, like, you know, like it was in Virtual Racing for the Genesis, these are probably the best graphics on the system ever. Like, the sprite work and just the details and colors are amazing. Just absolutely amazing. You know, I mean, granted, somebody could, like, prove me wrong and be like, oh, they just did this specific sprite layout. This many sprites were on this layer. This many sprites were on the vertical, horizontal plane, whatever. That's not my point. My point is, it's still pretty to look at, regardless of however, you know, Sega did it. And of course, the music is great. Like, I love Rusty Ruin Zone's music. That is awesome. Great stuff. But yeah, the game itself, I like, you know, despite some hate. I mean, I'd rather play this than Sonic and the Secret Rings. I'd rather play this than, you know, Sonic 2 on the Game Gear / Master System. I'd rather play this than Sonic's EduSoft for the Master System, an unreleased game. But anyways, there's enough time on Sonic 3D Blast. I like it. It's flawed, yes, I'll admit, but I still do get a kick out of it. And here is Revenge of Shinobi, The Revenge of Shinobi for the Genesis. Well, I think thanks to, you know, my experiences with Shinobi and Nightshade for the PlayStation 2, I now feel the need to get some more Shinobi games. So I start off with this, and this is now the most I've ever spent on a Sega Genesis game. Yeah, I mean, I love the Sega Genesis, but it's like, you know, need to get more games for it. But yeah, I spent like $33 on this, card only, unfortunately, but whatever, I don't care that much. And well, what can I say about the game? Well, it's great stuff, you know, it's that good Shinobi action that I've recently grown pretty fond of, but of course, you know, the big problem with it is the double jump. It's like, it's kind of, I want to say it's kind of like the double jump in Crash 3, where you have to be ascending, or at the very least at the very top of your jump or whatever. Point is, it's a very, very gimped, what the fuck sort of jump, and I feel like they implemented that just to make it harder. And well, let me just say this, if you're making a game harder, if you're gonna make a game harder by like gimping the controls or making the controls purposely, you know, bad, well, you as a game designer are not doing your job, okay? You're not doing your job correctly. Let me just say that. Unless, you know, unless I guess the game really doesn't hinder that much, but there are some cases where it's like, you know, I could have made it had the double jump not be so ass. I mean, I guess you can get used to it, but it's like, what the hell? I mean, I don't know, but I still, no, I'm not trying to be negative. I actually still think this is a great game, you know, it's great, enjoyable fun, and I really like it. I'm glad to have it. I would recommend it, yes. But the thing is, because of how expensive this cartridge of this is, and especially complete in box, one thing I would recommend is that you get this Genesis game. It's called 6-Pack. Yes, it's literally just called 6-Pack. I guess better known as the Genesis 6-Pack. And it has this game on here. Now you might be like, well, why didn't you get that? Well, because I actually wanted the standalone cartridge, because it's nice. So yeah, Revenge of Shinobi, real good stuff. And let's continue on with the Sega theme, with not one, but 2 Sega CD games, and some Saturn games, and this stuff that I might talk about later, actually, because this video is going to go on long. Alright, where do I start? Yeah, let's start off with Sega CD stuff, because, you know, yeah. Here we have Tomcat Alley. This game fucking sucks dick. I hate it. I don't like it at all. I don't enjoy it. I know some people like it, and they might say it's like one of the better... Okay, a coaster fell, but whatever, it doesn't matter. Some people might be like, oh, it's one of the better FMV games. No, this is not a good game. Okay, this is not a good game. It's not enjoyable, it's not fun, it's almost unplayable, to be honest, because it's just an annoyance. I don't like it at all. The only reason why I'm not rating too much more is because, well, you know, I paid $6 for it. That's, yeah, just a mere $6. And yes, it's an FMV game. You just move a cursor over here, get blown up, you blow up shit, watch some cutscenes. I mean, yes, the sets to like the cutscenes actually look really good. You know, there's some good video scenes. And the title screen music, while really one of the only tracks in the game, is really good. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from a Sega CD game. They always seem to have great music. But game itself, no, it's really not fun. Okay, like, the other like FMV game I have for the Sega CD is you know, Mad Dog McCree, and that blows. That's an unremarkable fucking experience. And so is this. This is also an unremarkable, like, I don't give a shit experience. When I'm playing this, I feel even more like less motivated than this when I'm playing like Mario Maker Expert, or hell, maybe even Mario Maker Super Expert mode, because this is just the pits, honestly. There's nothing fun about this. It's just, okay, move a cursor there, watch some shit. Like, granted, I'm not one who's really played too many, you know, like, jet games and shit like that, but, you know, I'd rather play, like, but I have a few, like, Ace Combat, what was it, Ace Combat 5 on the PlayStation 2, and Arrow Wings on the Dreamcast. It's like, those are better. I'd rather play it than this. Like, this, and, you know, this was released in 1994. Kinda late in the Sega CD's lifespan. Didn't they, like, realize that, hey, you know, these fucking games, you know, are stupid, let's put out some actually good titles? And there are lots of good titles on the Sega CD, but they're expensive as hell. So, you know, me being desperate as hell trying to get any sort of games for the system, just get this, and it's like, what the fuck? Just, I mean, I'm glad to have it, you know, it's always great to have another Sega CD game, no matter what the game is, really, but it's like, I don't like this at all. I really don't. But I guess on a more positive note, here we have the Amazing Spider-Man versus the Kingpin. Well, what can I say? It's a Spider-Man game, and it's a pretty damn good one. Like, I've noticed that the levels are short, but the thing is, there's a lot of levels in this game. Like, levels can last you even, like, a minute at most, probably, sometimes. But it's like, it's just fun to play through them, you know? And also, it's, you know, one of those Sega CD games that, Spencer Nilsson, composed for. And that's cool, you know, he's a cool composer. And, you know, stuff like that. But, yeah, you know, like I mentioned, the levels aren't, like, the most, like, wow, holy shit, this is amazing. But, you know, it's just a fun time. The times that I've played this, I liked. I mean, I haven't beaten it yet. I will get to beating it soon. But, you know, it's just fun, you know. Good old SpiderMan action. Climbing around walls, shooting webs, and for some reason you beat up cops, which, yeah, that's a little fucked. Yeah. You know, what does Tobey Maguire, think about this game? Or any actors, I guess, really, and you know, Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 and shit like that. What does he think about Spider-Man on the Atari 2600? I don't know. Who knows what he thinks about all this stuff. But, yeah, really good game, and I definitely recommend it if you know, have a Sega CD, which I can't imagine anybody who watches my videos does, because, you know, yeah. Also, this pinball section looks interesting. I have not gotten into it yet, but yeah. But there is kind of something noteworthy about this. It's kind of interesting and kind of weird that you can essentially actually just, you know, make it to the end of the level without defeating a single enemy. So it's like, you know, I guess it's lacking there, but, you know, hey, still a really good game. And, you know, I need to get more Sega CD games like that, not like fucking this garbage. I'm really making an embarrassment out of myself, you know, talking like this, aren't I? Well, whatever. That's Amazing Spider-Man versus the Kingpin for you. Alright, here we have Last Gladiators Digital Pinball on the Saturn. Saturn, not Saturn. I swear to God, sometimes when I say Saturn or other people say it, there's a good chance where it might sound like you're just saying Saturn. I mean, you might hear the N, but it's like Saturn. Or Saturn, like the fucking N, you know, it's kind of hard to pronounce unless you actually think about, like, you're like Saturn, you know, it's like Sega Saturn. Okay, I know that. I just had to get that off my chest. That's actually kind of a interesting thing. Saturn. Anyways, Last Gladiators Digital Pinball. Now, I wanted this for some time. It's exclusive to the Saturn, so yeah, it's not on PS1 or PC or anything. I could be wrong about this, but I believe this is related to Necronomicon Digital Pinball, or whatever the hell it was called, which is a Japan-only pinball game on the Saturn that is famous for its music. But, you know, this obviously was not Japan exclusive, and, you know, well, it's a pinball game. And, I've wanted this for a while because, I like pinball and all, but the thing is, this attracted me, because, like, back in 2013, when I was, you know, looking for my Saturn, or rather, was looking to buy one, you know, this game kind of caught my eye because it, well, did not cost $500, you know, in other words, it was actually an affordable Saturn game that looked like it was worth my time. But, you know, there's, of course, that asshole shipper who's going to charge $30 shipping for this, or might charge $25, then, you know, $40 shipping, or maybe the case is cracked, or some other BS like that, you know, because big hulking jewel cases that are fragile as hell that I like I like their presentation, but it's like, you know, these tabs, man. But at least they're fine on here. Anyways, but yeah, I found this for like $15 in New York, and yes, I know that's $15 US, and you know, I'm in Canada, but regardless, I'd still rather pay either $15 US or $15 Canadian than, you know, pay some retarded amount of this on eBay. The game itself is, it's a pretty good pinball game. I do think the tables could be a little, like, more exciting, and yes, I know, you know, it's not supposed to be some surreal, it's supposed to emulate what like a real pinball machine, you know, but, you know, it could be a little more, you know, exciting, I feel, but by no means is it bad. It's actually really good, and I recommend it if you're a pinball fan. Enjoyable game. I like it. Okay, here we have Tomb Raider. As the story goes with this, I could be wrong, but I believe similar in the case of the 3DO and the Atari Jaguar, and I mention that because here's the thing: with the 3DO, it had Gex, and Gex was supposed to be, you know, the big mascot, the big like exclusive sort of game for the 3DO. It was not. It did end up, you know, seeing release on the PS1 and the Saturn. Same case with the Atari Jaguar, except with the Jaguar's case, Rayman. Yes, Rayman was, you know, designed for the Jaguar in mind, and of course it didn't end up being exclusive. You know, saw a Saturn release, saw PS1 release, even saw a Game Boy Color release, but you know, that's not a 100% version. I mean, neither is the Saturn or PS1 ports. They're not identical to the Jaguar one. But anyways, I believe in the case with this, Tomb Raider was designed with the Saturn in mind, but of course, you know, it's not remembered as a Saturn game because this is the only Tomb Raider game for the system. Because, you know, as we know, Tomb Raider, big old series and stuff, it's never something I ever played or really got into. But I guess, you know, when I saw this at a store, I'm like, you know, let's give this a shot. It's a good price, you know, and surprisingly, it's a pretty cheap Saturn game, you know, because usually when a game is on both this and the PlayStation 1, the Saturn version, is going to be like, you know, just a retarded amount of money, because, you know, well, there just aren't as many copies. But in this case, it's actually a pretty affordable game. Now, which version is better, I don't know. But, you know, I guess I was a little more flexible to playing this because, you know, I've played Uncharted, you know, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, and I love those games, you know. They're probably some of my favorite games of all time, the more that I think of it, actually. I really like them. And, you know, everyone says, oh, well, they took inspiration from Tomb Raider, and while I'm not here to argue that, I'm, like, still not really desiring to play any Tomb Raider games, but I figured, you know what, fuck it, let's get this. You know, why not? And, yeah, it's, pretty much what I knew it was going to be from the gameplay and things I heard about it, and, well, I haven't played too much of it, but I like it so far. You know, I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, maybe there's some conversation about how the first Tomb Raider hasn't aged well, or it's not as good as it was back in, you know, 1996 or whatever. I don't know entirely what, you know, say the Tomb Raider fan base thinks about this game, but I've liked what I've played so far. And, you know, it's a cool thing to have since it's a, you know, interesting piece in the Saturn's history. Well, I think we have time for one more. We have Slalom for the Nintendo Entertainment System. As you can see, it's a black box game. And the interesting thing about this is that this game was developed by Rare. It even says right here, copyright 1986 Rare. Although, I believe this game did not actually come out in 86. I think it actually came out in 87. Yeah, isn't that some shit? Though there is no Famicom version of this, so, yeah, this is a NES exclusive, essentially. I mean, it's not exclusive to North America. There's a PAL version, but it's like, yeah, this is not on the Famicom. And, well, it's a skiing game, and, a hard one, I'll give you that, but I've played, well, from what I've played, it's pretty good, you know. And, hey, I'd rather play this than Battletoads, you know, one of other games on the NES by Rare. I'm still like really shocked that this exists, that Rare has a black box game. Because, you know, all these black box games had to have been made by Nintendo. Maybe, like, you know, okay, the phone's ringing, but I'll answer that later. But, you know, maybe like somebody else, maybe like some other company may have made other black box games, but Rare made this? That's crazy, you know. But a good game. Good game, I like it. It's cheap, you know, not the best skiing game out there, but it's nice. And you just potentially watched me talk for 19 minutes. If you did, thank you for staying this long. Holy shit.